Byrum Brown could shatter an embarrassing Auburn quarterback narrative.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. We're live, all the way live. Fired up to see everyone in the chat. Fired up to talk with everybody. This morning, we're going to talk about Byrum Brown and a really embarrassing quarterback narrative that hopefully has the roof blown off of it this year. You got the system and you got the quarterback, I think, to do it. And as much as we're going to talk about passing, we're still going to run the rock. Auburn's still going to run the rock. And then we're going to preview Hoops versus Oklahoma. Big game, important game tonight. We're going to talk about all the interesting aspects of that particular game and the impact that it could have on the rest of the season. But let's jump right into it. It's no secret. It's no secret at all that for whatever reason, Auburn has been somewhat of a quarterback graveyard as from a passing perspective. You got only two seasons ever that Auburn has had a passer that passed over 3,000 yards. That is not good. That's not a good resume because as of, early 2000s, you started playing 12 games. So there's been seasons where Auburn's played 13, 14 games and can't get to a 3,000-yard passer. This is not something to be like embarrassed about, but Cam Newton, you would think Cam Newton was one of those guys, but Cam Newton couldn't even get to that 3,000-yard mark. Passing has just been a black hole. Doesn't matter if you get a guy that's supposed to be an All-American, you get a five-star freshman, you get this, you get that, you get a big transfer. It doesn't seem like Auburn's been able to just snake bit when it comes to passing. That's right, TK. Damian Craig still has the record for, I think it's like 32 or 3,300 yards. Heck, Jarrett Stidham is the other one, and he had to throw for 331 yards in the 14th game of the year to get over 3,000 yards. So look, I love to see the ball in the air as much as anyone, but as offenses have become modernized, Auburn has just lagged behind big time. It's just been hard for Auburn to have much success through the air, and I really think all the tools are in place for Byrum Brown and Alex Golesh to shatter this narrative. And when I say shatter, I'm talking about blow the dadgum roof off the ball. Alex Golesh off of this whole narrative. And I say narrative, sometimes the word narrative is used as it's like this fake story going around. It's not really, it's a true narrative. It's a totally true narrative, and Auburn hopefully can blow the roof off of that this season, and we're going to talk about why. Look, Alex Golesh has been a play caller or head coach for 6 years, okay, going all the way back to 2020. The COVID year was his first year calling plays, okay? In 4 of those 6 seasons, he's had a 3,000-yard passer. The only time he's not had a 3,000-yard passer, one of those seasons, the guy threw for 2,945 yards, which is hilarious, that close. And then the other year was 2 seasons ago when he had Byrum Brown went down and he had some quarterback injuries, okay? 4 out of the last 6. Auburn has had 2 out of the last ever, which is just crazy. He puts the ball in the air, and he's had success at multiple stops, multiple conferences, transitioning from whatever conference UCF was in at the time to the SEC and going nuts in his very first season. He's just been able to put it, he's just been able to do it. Byrum Brown himself, his first season with Alex Golesh, he threw for over 3,000 yards. Got injured his second year, comes back for his third year, throws for over 3,000 yards. In those seasons, those 4 of 6, 5 of the 6, they still had over 3,000 yards total passing. So even that 29-45 year, I think it was Hendon Hooker, I think he had Joe Milton behind him who threw for, 400 or 500 yards and so pushed it over that 3,000-yard mark. It's crazy. And then Auburn has had, just the complete opposite of that. I think there's only been 1 year out of the last, however long Alex Golesh has been a coordinator, the last 6 years, I think there's only been 1 year where Auburn's thrown for over 3,000 yards as a team, and that was 2024. Peyton Thorne threw for like 2,700 yards. Hank Brown had, a couple of games where he threw the ball around and got us over 3,000 yards. But it's just been awful. Here's another fun stat, okay? This is crazy. In 4 out of the 6 seasons that Alex Golesh has been an offensive coordinator or head coach, they've thrown for 30 touchdowns 4 out of 6 seasons. And I think one of those seasons he threw for like 27. So 4 out of 6 seasons thrown for over 30 touchdowns. You know how many Auburn's done? How many Auburn has had? 1. And that was Cam Newton in 2010. That's it. So 1 ever. In Golesh, 4 out of the first 6 years, he was calling plays or being a head coach. That just blows my mind. It blows my mind that Auburn, as historical of a program, has had that little success through the air. Some teams have just changed philosophies, and as the games evolved, they've found coordinators, they found folks to come in and evolve the game with them. You look at Alabama, man, it seemed like overnight they went from a running team to throwing for 4,000 yards a season. That's where the game seems to be, that's where the game seems to be moving, and Auburn has just been so far behind. So, man, when you really couple the system that Golesh has, the system seems to produce. You've produced over multiple stops. You've produced over multiple quarterbacks. You haven't just ridden the coattails of one guy. How many times have you seen, or we talked about a team? Let's talk about Vanderbilt for a second. I want to see what Clark Lee can do without Diego Pavia. I want to see what so-and-so can do without insert elite quarterback. Golesh has done it with multiple. And other than Byrum Brown, none of them have really been elite. I guess Dylan Gabriel was his first one as a sophomore. You may want to call him elite. I don't know. He was a really good quarterback. He's an NFL quarterback. Then you go to Hendon Hooker, who was not necessarily elite and lit it up. And then obviously Byrum Brown, who I think has become a premier quarterback in college football. So done it at multiple stops, done it with multiple quarterbacks. You can't say he only had success with X person. He's done it with multiple people. It's just it really feels like all the pieces are in place for Auburn to be able to take down and maybe blow the roof off this particular narrative. I know what you're thinking. I'm going to guess what you're thinking. Okay, but he just said in a press conference he wants to run the heck out of the ball. He's really talked about running the heck out of the ball. If they're throwing like this, how are they going to be able to run the heck out of the ball? Well, we got that covered too. We're going to talk about that in just a second as well. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to PayZoom. Look, if you own a business and you take credit card payments, you got to have a payment processor. And if you have a payment processor, credit card payment processor, are you sure that you're taking full advantage of every possible discount that your business could qualify for? How would you even know who to call with your current setup? Would you have a person you could call? Would you have to get on a call waiting? Would you have to get on a list? With PayZoom, you can pick up the phone. You can call Nate Ralston right here in Alabama, 251-648-7580. He can make sure that your business is taking full advantage of every possible savings you can have. Why not do business with an Auburn guy? Why not do business with a guy that's located right here and not overseas? Show him some love. It's Nate Ralston with PayZoom. Also, if you need a good realtor in the Auburn, Opelika area, hit me up. If you want to buy, build, or sell, or invest, been talking with a bunch of folks, closing on one this Thursday with a listener. A lot of fun stuff going on in Auburn. Great investment opportunities as well. Kyle Rush at KW.com. Hit me up. We'll be back right after this. So I know what you're thinking. All this passing talk, but we've been preaching running the ball. He's been talking about running the ball. We got this stable of running backs. We got a 1-2 punch with Bryson Washington and Jeremiah Cobb, and then you're bringing in Tay Meadows, and we got these young guys. Oh my! Like, we got all these running backs, and then you brought in all these tight ends as well to potentially help the running game. But we're talking about passing. If you're throwing for 3,000 plus yards, like surely that's hurting you on the rushing totals, right? Well, that's wrong as well. How about this? In 6 years of being an offensive coordinator or head coach, Golesh has never rushed for under 2,000 yards as a team. Never rushed for under 2,000 yards as a team. It's almost, he definitely passes more. He definitely has more passing yards. But some of the rushing totals rival Auburn rushing totals. As a matter of fact, I think over the last 10 years, there's only maybe 2 or 3 seasons that Auburn's had a total rushing above what an Alex Golesh offense is output. They run the dadgum ball. Again, in 6 years, I totally missed this. In 6 years, they've outrushed Auburn 4 out of those 6 years. 4 out of those 6 years, these offenses have not only passed more than Auburn, but they've rushed more than Auburn as well, which is just wild, because you would think, when you think of Auburn, you think about running the rock. And a lot of times it feels like, to me, the bigger successful rushing years are because that's all Auburn could do. I think about like 2016. You had Cam Petway, who rushed for like 12 or 1,300 yards, but we couldn't throw the ball. It seems like years where we have a lot of running success is because we can't pass the ball and we have to just continually pound the rock. Balance helps everything. Shout out Cheese. I know how to find and dangle the carrot. I can get pumped up about anything. But this is legit numbers. This isn't just smoke. This isn't just smoke and mirrors. This is legitimate statistics that have spanned and carried over, again, multiple teams. So it's felt like when Auburn's had success running the ball, it's because we can't throw it. They do both. They do both. That's what I love. And then I know some of you are going to be like, well, man, they really just beat up on those small schools. They really beat up in those small conferences at UCF, at USF. How about this? From 2020 to 2021. Now, you got to take this a little bit with a grain of salt because the season was shortened in 2020. But you gained almost 2,700 total yards between passing and rushing from one year to the next. They were just simply explosive the minute they stepped into the SEC game. So you feel like the SEC success, the SEC experience, and it wasn't in 2014. It wasn't in 2015. It was just 2 to 3 years ago where they were going up and down the field in the SEC, beating Alabama, scoring a bunch of points, having the number 1 offense in the entire country. It was like yesterday. Okay, so we're not talking about some outdated anything. We're talking about real numbers, real statistics that happen right now, that have been happening right now in the SEC and have carried over. And hopefully we're about to see a supercharged kickoff as far as like out of the gates hot with all the unity on the staff. That you got the quarterback, you got the center, you got a couple of the top wide receivers just simply merging right over with Auburn and building that culture ready to take off. They run the ball, they pass the ball, they get the ball in the end zone. The 30 touchdowns thing may be the most exciting. 30 passing touchdowns, that may be the most fun thing of all. 4 out of the 6 seasons they've thrown for over 30 touchdowns. I wouldn't even know what to think. You know how I love fades. Boy, they put the ball in the air and put the ball in the end zone. That's a lot of fun. So I think the pieces are in place to finally shatter this narrative. Let's switch gears and talk about hoops for just a second before we get out of here. I like to take a look at the net rankings every day because they update daily and they play games daily. Auburn's still hanging in at 33 in the net, which is a very, very safe number. And then you got Oklahoma, who is at 71. So they've actually moved up a notch. They were 72 or 73 recently. That's big because that makes tonight a quad 1 game. And another quad 1 win just looks that much better on the resume. The only thing is Oklahoma could fall out of the net rankings. They play LSU, Missouri, and Texas. They play at Texas. And they play at LSU. So 2 of their last 3 games are on the road, which is really tough. So if they lose those 2, more than likely they're going to drop outside of the top 20, top 75. So that makes it even more important to win the game. It's like a double bonus. If you win it and they hang on, it could be a quad 1 win. But if you lose it and they fall out, if they beat you and then they fall out somehow, now it becomes a quad 2 loss. So it's like a double-edged sword. It really makes tonight very, very important. And unfortunately, Oklahoma does one thing that Auburn really struggles with, and that's they shoot the 3. They shoot the 3 at an insanely high percentage, and that's been sort of Auburn's kryptonite. I don't want to say insanely high. They're 35% as a team, but they have 2 guys shooting, 3 guys shooting over 40% from 3. So you gotta close out. You can't lose these shooters like the first half of the Mississippi State game where you lost Josh Hubbard a lot. You got to stick to him. You can't give him that breathing room. I think this game, I think it's going to be a good one. And I don't really know what to expect. Let me look up the spread, see if the spread's out. I would imagine Auburn's favored. Hold on one second. This is the beauty of live podcasting. Auburn's only favored by 1.5. So they're expecting it to be pretty tight. So we need to go. I saw them fly out yesterday. They posted the pictures of them flying out yesterday. So hopefully they're obviously safe, rested, and ready to go. We will have a barn cast tonight. So make sure y'all join that. Should be hopping. It's a very important game. Need to make sure you're there and having fun. Get all the gifts and get all the AI clips and AI pictures ready to send in. We'll have some fun like we always do. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining. We will be back again very, very soon. We'll see you tonight, actually, on the Barncast. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.